Well, Rachel and Vladimir, I understand you're 2 of 5 co-chairs for this meeting.
Yep.
What's that like? What's it been like planning this conference?
Well, we started maybe a year and a half ago. Yes, so it's been a long
It takes
time.
a long
in planning.
time to plan.
Right. And so now it's kind of just the culmination. It's actually much less busy now than it was maybe 2 months ago.
And do you feel like your work is paying off? How do you feel about the way things are going?
Great. I think it's going to be a great meeting. It's obviously going to be a record meeting again, and there's a lot of new research and a lot of new things happening, and we're really excited about this meeting. So I think it's going great so far.
What's the process like being a meeting chair? You've been working on this about a year and a half, you said. Is it intense?
It comes and it goes. So I think the most integral part is choosing which symposia are going to be included in the meeting. And all of those individual symposia are what attract the people and then set the tone for the meeting. And that's what started about a year and a half ago. And so the process was soliciting all of those and figuring out which ones we wanted to have as part of the meeting. And from there, just everything builds up.
That was probably the hard work was about a year ago when we went through all the symposia applications and sort of had to select which ones we were going to put into the program here.
Were there a lot of applications that you had to choose from?
I think they're in the order of 65 or 70 applications, yes. And we got it down to 56 that were going to be the meeting, and then organizing them such that, I mean, as you look around, this is a huge center, trying to get them grouped at least somewhat so that people wanting to see similar talks were near each other. And you're not dashing between here and Marriott and Westin too much.
Why did you decide to get involved at this level, at the chair level? It's a lot of work.
I ask myself that frequently.
Did you find the answer?
Not yet.
Well, I think it's a great way actually to get to know the MRS. So I haven't been that closely involved before, and this is really a good way to get to know all the staff and all the people in the who manage the MRS. So, and to get to know what the organization is more like.
We've also each of the meeting chairs has organized a symposium or more before. And so we all kind of knew how things worked from the individual conference, or individual symposia level, and seeing how all those pieces fit together to make the whole meeting is interesting. And it's kind of nice being able to have some level of control over how that's going to work out.
Were there any surprises along the way at all, either pleasant surprises or stumbling blocks?
There were a lot of pleasant surprises in the diversity. I mean, I've always gotten the bulletin of all of the symposia, but a lot of pleasant surprises when we started getting the symposia proposals of just how broad material science has become, and the way people use some symposia to seed new ideas, where they're putting together things that haven't really been thought of as a subject before. And it's nice to see how the symposia can be used as a formative piece of science.
And Vladimir, for you?
Well, I think, I'm very impressed with the MRS. I mean, I've always had a very good opinion about the Materials Research Society. I think it's one of the best societies out there. And I'm really impressed with the staff. There are really sort of big changes going on right now within the MRS. And we're getting into whole new areas, with the more international involvement, the virtual meeting concept.
MRS TV, for example.
Yes, MRS TV including. And so the whole thing, I mean, this is really thanks to Todd Osman and his staff, and also the presidential line. I think, people have really put a lot of effort into this, and they're really changing the MRS. This is not your professor's MRS anymore. This is sort of the new MRS, I think, and things are really dynamic, I think, now. Every new meeting, there are new things going on. We have now the MRS Foundation, creating new initiatives in universities, and so on. So there's quite a bit of new stuff that's happening within the MRS, and that was actually something that I got to know. That was a surprise to me within this last year.
So that actually segues nicely into my next question, which is, we're on the first day of the technical symposia with much more to come. What are some of the elements of this meeting that you're most excited about?
I'm really excited about the plenary tomorrow,
yes.
which is one of the traditional parts of the MRS meeting, but the plenary session tomorrow is Arun Majumdar, who's Vice President of Google, and on his way to Stanford. And he's an old collaborator of mine, but I haven't heard him speak in quite a long time. So
Is he a good
excited.
speaker?
He's a fantastic speaker. So I'm very excited about that.
What are you most excited about?
Well, I mean, there are a lot of very exciting symposia. A lot of research in bio area, in graphene, in oxides, and so on. So there's, you can find whatever is appropriate for you. But I think there's obviously the few highlights, the plenary talks and.
MRS was founded on the concept of interdisciplinary science. Tell me a little bit about what that means and how did that shape your meeting?
So material science has elements of many forms of engineering, chemical, mechanical, civil, you name the engineering, as well as chemistry and physics and biology in it. And so that's actually one of the challenges of running this meeting, is that people are coming from a large number of different disciplines with different cultures. And they're all going to come together at one meeting. And this is kind of the compromise of the MRS culture. And that also means that this is a great place for having meetings where you need input from multiple different backgrounds. For example, there are a number of talks here where you will see chemists, electrical engineers, physicists, mechanical engineers, all in one room talking about a single scientific subject. And that's what makes MRS special, is it's not just one perspective. There are a lot of people, particularly for device symposia, for example, thermoelectrics, there's that whole crowd in one room and having a conversation with each other. And it makes for a very exciting meeting.
Vladimir?
Yes, and also in terms of participation, we have people from academia, from national labs, from industry, from all over, so it's not just sort of one segment of the research community. So MRS really encompasses a lot of variety.
Well, that's wonderful. And you have nearly 6,000 attendees this year. Great job, co-chairs Rachel and Vladimir. Thanks for joining us.
Wish we could take credit for that part. We're enjoying it.
I'll give you credit for it.